Greetings and salutations. Thank you for clicking on the video. Today we're going to take a look at Linux Mint 18 Sarah, the Xfce edition. I have already done pretty extensive reviews of Linux Mint 18, Cinnamon, and Mate, so we're probably not going to get too deep into this. We're just going to take a quick look around. The base system is definitely the same. The only difference is the desktop. Here is where they announced the official release. So the Linux Mint gang seems to be working pretty hard getting the alternative desktop versions out. Xfce has been released quite a bit later than the Linux Mint 18 with the Mate and the Cinnamon desktop. So let's go over here and take a look at that right now. You can come to the Linux Mint page here and you can read those release notes for yourself. And yes, we are running on Linux Mint 17.3 yet again. Those of you who follow my videos closely know that I just went through a little flirtation with Ubuntu Gnome 16.04, and while I was initially impressed with the way things were working, the truth of the matter is that if I want a desktop that crashes 3 times a day, then I'll go back to Windows. I don't think it was necessarily the desktop's fault or the distribution's fault. I'm beginning to suspect that this computer has some issues. So the hunt begins for a new machine. This is a repurposed laptop, and it does have a little bit of age on it at this point. You will notice that VirtualBox actually matches the system theme, and the fonts are large enough to be read. That is because I installed VirtualBox 5.0.2, which is the VirtualBox that is available in the repositories with Linux Mint 17.3. So you will see what Linux Mint Xfce looks like, 18 Sarah, as it boots up here in the virtual machine. And the reason why I rolled back to an older version, for those of you who haven't seen my previous videos of VirtualBox, is simply because the latest version, 5.1, is a mess, and I was having all kinds of issues with that. So let me get that to go full screen again. It didn't do it the first time. There we go. Alright, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the only thing that I have done with this particular virtual machine that you are seeing is I have installed it, and I have increased the font size just a bit to make it easy for everybody to see. We get the standard Linux Mint welcome menu. We've been over this a couple of times, and here's where you can get all kinds of groovy help, and you can install software on the system, and if you did not install the codecs and all of the third-party software at install, you will have a chance to do it here. So we've been through that many times. I'm not going to get too much into the welcome screen. This is what the Xfce panel looks like down here at the bottom. It's very simple. There's not a whole lot here. You get the whisker menu, which is part of the Xfce desktop. And the whisker menu is actually quite groovy. It's one of the things I really like about Xfce, because it's just a nice little application, and you can customize it in many different ways if you want to, or you can leave it alone. You can resize it, you can make it do this, you can make it do that. You can do whatever you want with the whisker menu. And Linux Mint has it here where they label the applications first and then have the descriptions under there. Some distributions, the way they implement Xfce is that instead of getting the name of the program, you get a description. And I think that's kind of confusing for new users. So let's look at what we got on the panel. We got a couple of shortcuts here. Those are the normal Linux Mint shortcuts. They give you one to Firefox, they give you one to a terminal, and they give you one to the file manager. Being that this is Xfce, what do you want to bet that this is Thunar? Thunar 1.6.10. Yep. Thunar is a very nice file manager, and I tend to like this better than Kaha or Kaja, however you want to say it, the one that is in the Mate desktop. There's really, the difference between Xfce and Mate is just bits and pieces. It's pretty much laid out the same way, but One of the things I think is stronger in the Xfce desktop is the Thunar file manager. It's very nice. And the panel pretty much behaves as we would expect. We have Network Manager there. We have a nice volume control. And we have the Update Manager, and Linux Mint 18 encourages us to choose a level here. I was just watching a great video by Matt Hartley where he went through here and talked about choosing these levels. It is a bit confusing, but we will go to number 2. You know, the first one here says, don't break my computer. The truth of the matter is that these two are not going to break your computer. I mean, not much of a chance. I think Linux Mint tends to be just a little tiny bit, oversensitive to those sorts of things. But we'll click OK anyway. And it's back there crunching along. Crunch, crunch. Come on, gang. I didn't want to make a whole video about the manager here. Let's go ahead and choose some mirrors. A lot of people have been asking me about, should I go to Linux Mint 18 and what desktop should I use? And to tell you the truth, if you are really happy with Linux Mint 17.3, if you're currently using that, no matter what desktop it is, I'm almost tempted to say just stay with what you got. So we'll choose James Madison University, apply. Because while this is really cool, and it is an update, it is not that different from a user point of view. In other words, the system tends to work the same way. They do have the new X apps in here, which you are welcome to take a look at. And if you don't like it, you can just download the Gnome or Mate version of the same application, whichever one works best for you. Okay, so when I'm ready to do my updates, I will be good to go on my mirrors, but I'm not going to do the updates right now in the video. Let's take a look at some of the other things here. We've got a button that takes us to the All Settings menu. Now this is one of the things that I always look at with an Xfce desktop is what is here, because some of the more generic implementations of Xfce, some of the settings actually aren't here. So we have Appearance, and let's look at the themes. Let's see what Mint Wide Dark looks like. That's the one that I'm running on the other desktop there. Oh, it looks good. Let's just kick that in. They got a bunch in here to choose from, which is cool. Let's see what else we got. We got the standard Xfce themes. Oxygen DTK is in here. Bunch of ARC themes. That's nice. So I'm just going to leave it on Mint Wide Dark for the rest of the video. Choose an icon set here. Got a ton loaded. That's cool. Yeah, Mint X Dark. Always like the Gnome icon set. It's very gaudy. So I'm going to choose that. Here's where you can adjust the fonts. I've already done that. And we got some more settings there. So that's cool. Let's go back to all settings and see what else we got. I got desktop and I got desktop settings. So let's look at desktop first. Here's where you can choose your backgrounds. It'll let me resize this window a bit, make it a little bigger. There we go. Okay, so we have a nice selection of backgrounds there. I think I'll stick with the one. I do like the moon. Let's do the moon. Alright, we got some menu settings. What icons appear on the desktop. Well, the only one they have appearing is home, which is cool with me. I can put the trash on here. Okay, what else do we have in settings to look at? We've got the panel editor there. You can change the sizes and do some things with that. One of the things I like about Xfce is that it is very customizable. It's very plastic, and you can really make this thing do a lot of different stuff. And it's a desktop that's been around for a long time. So there are themes out there that you can go download. I mean, theme after theme after theme after theme. You can go crazy. You can make this thing pretty much look any way you want it to. Now here's a problem that I have always had with the Xfce desktop, and that's preferred applications. Sometimes this doesn't take, or it doesn't offer you the choices. They've got it set for Thunderbird. Let's see what utility. Yeah, I can't really change anything to see what the deal is, but I've had issues with this part of these settings where, like, if you try to, for instance, if you want to use a different terminal, you don't want to use the Xfce terminal, you want to use Terminator or something like that, that it can be very difficult to get those settings to take. And sometimes if you want to add something that isn't on that little list, you have to do it manually and go in there and give it a shortcut. And I don't know, it's crazy, yo. I mean, it's like sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Let's see, we have the screensaver, which is just good old X screensaver. When I was using Mint with the Xfce desktop a ways back, I changed this screensaver out and put the Gnome screensaver in it. That's wild. Because I just don't like this application. I think it's archaic. I think this application is archaic. It is 2016, and we don't need screensavers anymore. And that, like I said, that particular application in Linux Mint and in Linux Lite has given me heartburn, and I've had to take it out. Now we can configure a firewall here. This is good. We have the driver manager. It's going to look and see if we have any drivers available for Linux Mint. This is rather peppy for running in a virtual machine, and I have only given the system 1 GB of memory. Oh, so it found a bunch of drivers. And the guest editions are already installed. I'm not going to mess with those. They're good. And then we got the microcode driver for the processor. Come back and install that later after I install the updates. Got software sources here. We got the software manager. Now, the Mint Wide Dark theme that I am using on Linux Mint 17.3, I noticed today that whenever you put your administrative password in, the theme is actually, it doesn't kick in, which is really weird. I don't know if they did it on purpose or what the deal was, but if you like open an application here, you know, it'll do that. So this is your software. This is where you can get all the software that is installed in the Linux Mint repositories. So if you wanted internet type applications, you could come down here and scroll through the list. And my only complaint about this has always been there's not too much of a description. You almost kind of have to know what you're looking for. But it's cool. And there's a lot of applications in there. And yes, VirtualBox 5.0.2 is in there. Just make sure that when you get that, if you're going to put the extension pack in there, you go to the VirtualBox site, go to older builds and find that one and download it. And don't make the mistake that I did, which was I installed 5.0.20. It don't work. Alright, and we can change the login screen here. This is something I always do with Linux Mint. So let's take a look here. Alright, so I want the carbon, and I want to look at the login, and it says that I can log in automatically, which is the way I have this set up, so I'm good to go with that. One thing I always look at in Xfce is the power manager. This is the more updated version. This one tends to work. The older one, there were some problems with this. The system wouldn't suspend and it wouldn't do what you wanted it to do, but this looks very cool. And let's see, it's saying when the power button is pressed, do nothing. That's fine. System on battery. System sleep mode. I'd much rather. All this has is hibernate. I think that's probably because it's in a virtual machine. On critical battery power, you can have it hibernate or shut down. This is turning off the displays. I've always found that they have a bunch of settings here. They have blank after, put to sleep after, and switch off after. So you have 3 different things that you have to set in order to tell it when to blank the display, which I don't understand, to tell you the truth, but there you go. That's how it works. And we have some statistics there. Lock the screen when the system is going to sleep. I guess that would open up the screensaver or the screen locker. Let's see what it does when you lock the screen. It starts a screensaver. Yep. Which comes up this little tiny box. Yeah, that's how it works. So I guess if you want to lock the screen, you have to have the screensaver around. There's actually another application. It's called Screen Locker. Lock the screen. Oh, it's just a... Okay. So yeah, it'd take a little poking around here. Let's go to properties here. I like to have this where it shows a title. And I'm going to change the title to menu. Yeah, and you can go in here and that's how you customize things. One of the things I like about the Xfce desktop is that you can just drag and drop icons onto the menu here. Pretty sure you can. Let's see if we can do it. No, it tried to open it up in a terminal. Yes, create new launcher. So there you go, create the launcher. And then I think we can drag that. Either way, it's there. That's cool. Once I get it there, I guess I have to go to, well, I want to move it. Been a while since I used Xfce. I've forgotten how to do this. I think I can do it here. It doesn't tell me which launcher it is, but let's see what happens. Oh, it's this one. Cool. So you can do it that way. And I want to get rid of that terminal launcher, so let's get rid of it. Okay. So yeah, that's one way to do it. So anyway, Xfce is pretty cool to play around with. It is a very stable desktop. It's like a rock once you get it set up. It doesn't change. There's some good points and bad points to it. I've gone through them many times in past videos. And whether I would choose Xfce over Mate really depends on how the distribution itself has implemented the Mate desktop or the Xfce desktop. And it looks like Linux Mint has done a fantastic job putting the Xfce desktop on top of their Linux Mint 18 Sarah edition. So yeah, you can definitely check this out. And I'm not going to recommend Mate over Xfce or Xfce over Mate. It really depends on your personal taste and what you're used to, whether you want to use one or the other. Like I have one machine that runs Ubuntu Mate right now with the Mate desktop, and it's just rock solid. It just goes and goes and goes, and it doesn't give me any trouble at all. Whereas the other desktops, sometimes you get a little bit of lockup or something like that. And so that's it. I guess that's pretty much all there is to say about Linux Mint 18 Sarah. The Xfce edition, that is. So I'm going to go ahead and get the updates going and let that be percolating. And we are going to... hold on. It's asking for my password. And I'm going to leave this running for a while to play with it. I like to have a virtual machine up and running. There's one thing I did want to look at. We kind of looked at it earlier. I want to see if they have alternate Control T set as a terminal shortcut. Well, that opened up my terminal for my main machine. That's not what I wanted to do. I want to open up the terminal in the... Yes, so they do, and this is what it looks like with the dark theme enabled. They've got the transparency turned on, so that's pretty cool. So let's see here what we're dealing with memory. What? Oh. It's only using 400 megabytes, and we've opened up a bunch of this stuff. So that's good. Let's see here. Yeah, I guess that's what we want to look at. And the terminal, the kernel that's in here, I know for a fact is yeah, 4.4.0-21 generic, which is the recommended kernel. Although I'm getting ready to update that right now. So anyway, there you go, gang. Got a bit rambly toward the end, but that is a look at the Linux Mint Xfce edition. Not bad. Not bad at all. Check out Easy Linux on the web. Check out Easy Linux on Facebook. And also check out freedompenguin.com for lots of great articles about Linux from contributors such as myself. Have fun playing with Linux. Love to hear your comments and suggestions. And thanks for watching.